Now, I love Sea of Thieves. I've been having a blast with it, and as of late, while I personally feel like my $60 are fairly well spent, I do agree that there's absolutely not enough content in the game to justify its price. Now, I know that Rare is planning on adding more content in future updates, but this got me thinking about stuff that I would love to see come to the game. Recently, I had this quest idea that I thought would be kind of cool if my friends and I could get to do something like this. Now, obviously, this is probably never going to happen in the game, so while listening to this idea, please keep that in mind. Also, remember, I'm not a game dev. This is purely just something that I would like to see happen, or I think would be kind of cool, and it could be a sort of step in the right direction as far as adding more things that are both interesting and fun for the players to do in Sea of Thieves. So, with that, let's get started. So, in order to receive this quest, you first have to reach a reputation of 10 with the Order of Souls. Now, the quest begins with a random discovery of an ancient, damaged tome, say like you're just exploring an island. Inside the tome is a lot of unlegible text, as well as a small sentence that is still readable. Now, the text speaks of ghosts and their weakness to the light. Upon closing the book, a flash will occur as the book flies out of your hands and onto the ground. Out of the book comes a hostile ghost pirate. Yes, a ghost, not a skeleton. If it's daylight, he shudders and his skin kind of like reforms into a zombie-like state. Now this also happens if a lantern is held up to him, kind of like with the shadow skeletons when you hold the light up to them. When you kill him, you see his soul quickly sucked back into the book, and you are free to take it. Now if you decide to take the book back to the merchant for the Order of Souls faction, you will be presented with two options. You can either sell the book, or hold on to it and have the merchant give you some info on the tome itself. For this, we'll choose the latter of the two. The merchant tells you that in ancient days, the Order of Souls had connections to magical places no one else could go, places only the doomed were destined to see, and that many used to sail beyond the borders of the world for purposes now lost. The merchant will say that perhaps beyond the borders of the world we could still travel, but none have done so and lived since the old days. From here we receive a new voyage, the Voyage of the Doomed. In this voyage you receive another book, and inside the book are two things, one being a strange rune, and the other being a map showing the southernmost island and a large X located off of the world map. Players will have to sail off the map towards the X to successfully pass the first part of the quest. Players will have to make sure they bring lots of wood planks, as well. We know what happens when you're outside of the map. Once reaching the X on the map, players will see the ends of the world, a gigantic waterfall. Now at this point, players will be told to sail over the waterfall. When the player ship does sail over the falls, they notice that they didn't actually fall. Players will notice they now sail on calm waters. The water is pitch black and there is fog everywhere around the bottom of the ship. Once again, players will have to look in the tome, and yet another new phrase is in the pages. It warns of a large gate to an ancient world, but this gate is guarded by towers of the dead. And sure enough, not long after players read this, they see 4 towers in a horizontal line. In the direct middle of the towers is a large door with a huge lock, almost like that of the vault doors of the skeleton forts. Except, I don't know, maybe this one has like blue fire and glows green and weird shit like that. Now, in order to open the gate, players will have to find 4 fragments of an ancient skull. Each tower will have a piece of the skull, and when all 4 pieces are collected, the skull forms, allowing players safe passage through the gate. However, players will have to face more ghost pirates in each tower, as cannons fire and ghosts stand ready to defend themselves. If the player ship sinks here, well, I'm sorry bro, you're sucked into the abyss and spit out back into the real world, where you'll have to pay a minor fee to a soul mermaid to raise your ship from the depths and try again. However, if players succeed and pass through the gate, they discover a new location. And for this, we'll just call it the Sea of Shadows or something. But it's here where the players physically travel to the realm of the dead. In the distance, we see the Ferry of the Damned, and as we are here physically, the captain takes notice of us. We board his ship, and upon talking to him, we turn in the first book we found on the island. He thanks us and reports that 3 other captains have escaped his ferry to grasp life once more. He tells us that they now travel upon their own spirit ships and have raised their dead crew to sail the seas. The captain then gives us a map with 3 X's marked near some islands. He asks us to bring him the escaped souls, and we shall be richly rewarded. We, being the curious bunch, accept his quest, and in doing so, the captain attaches a gigantic anchor to the front of the ship. It's made of like bone and metal, and has a strange, eerie glow to it. The captain tells the players then that if we drop the anchor, we may return to his ship as we are to be his champion soul snatchers. In order to return to the world, we simply drop the anchor, and the screen goes black. Then suddenly we all see on our screen the surface of the ocean quickly approaching, and just like in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, we and our ship sprout from the surface of the water. Now we have a new quest to undertake. At this point, we travel to the locations on the map the captain gave us, but on the back of the map it warns us that only from midnight to 5 a.m. are the soul ships available to be found and dealt with. We take care of the targets as we collect them. Maybe whenever we kill the ghost captains, their soul is sucked into the skull we had to assemble to unlock the gate from earlier, or maybe into the rune from the book we got, I don't know. But once the 3 remaining targets are taken down, we do the final deed. We drop the bone anchor again, and instantly are sucked down into the realm of the dead. We appear next to the ferry of the damned, and we approach the captain. Giving him the collected souls, he thanks us and deems us his champions. As his champions, he bestows us a type of mark. Maybe it's a type of tattoo or something. And then we are notified through words forming on the screen in like a hazy mist that we have earned favor with the dead captain, and now we have joined the new faction, called Those of the Damned. And from here, we can start doing more quests for the Ferry of the Damned, earning really badass looking loot for both ourselves and our ship by doing the quests for the dead captain, and thus bestowing quite an ancient title to our pirate's name. But this was just one idea of a quest that I think would be a lot of fun. What do you guys think? What sort of things would you like Rare to put into this game? Or what kind of things would you maybe have changed about my idea? Put your guys' thoughts down in the comments. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and until next time, ta-ta for now.